think George is hurt. I think he's scared. I think he's scared to fight everybody right now. What's up? Where you at, George?
He has never shied away from calling out St. Pierre.
I want to fight George St. Pierre, you know. That ain't an option. That's the only fight I'm talking about, you know what I'm saying? I want to get the show on the road. Like I said, I'm not getting any younger. I don't think old George, I don't think he's getting any younger. If I was him, I'd stand up and say something. I'd be like, hey, you know, let's you know, make this happen or whatever, you know. I just think that we should get this thing going, you know what I'm saying? If this guy stands up in the middle of the cage after he wins the fight and says, hey, I want to fight Nick Diaz, I'll hop the cage and I'll get up in this face and I say, what's up? Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? But if I said something like that, I don't think he'd get up out of his seat. You know, I think he'd just sit there. So, you know, otherwise this fight would happen.
But when it was finally set to happen, and for reasons only known to himself, he decided to not show up for the mandatory press tour.
I've promoted over 1,600 fights in my career. This has never, ever happened once. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. It blows my mind.
Over 1 year and a few fights later, St. Pierre has granted Diaz a second chance.
We're excited for this fight. It's a long time in the making. This is the fight that George St. Pierre wanted. We couldn't say no to George.
I think he's the #1 contender now. I'm more than happy to give him a shot. I'm not a coward. I never duck nobody. Never. You know what I mean? I never run away from nobody, and now it's his chance. He deserves it. I'm willing to give it to him.
So, with another chance to take on the sport's best welterweight, Nick Diaz has decided to embrace the opportunity.
He's the guy to be, pretty much. That's good.
So you like him?
Yeah, I mean, I like him just fine.
Is there anything you dislike about him?
No, I like him just fine.
A surprising reaction to some, but the reality is, the Stockton native has always been misunderstood.
I don't like to see people get hurt. I don't like violence. I'm not even a violent person. I don't want to punish anybody, you know what I mean? That's asking too much, especially, you know, I'm happy with winning the fight, you know, that's all I ever want. I don't want anybody to you know, I don't want anybody to have a bad night or, you know, to go home hurt.
I'm sure the Nick Diaz that everybody expected to see here today, you're going to see him very soon. You know, he came up here, you know, he's not training. He's been off for a year, like you said. He's been off for a year. Once he gets back into camp, we'll see the old Nick.
Here's a closer look at all the welterweights joining GSP and Diaz on this card, including St. Pierre's training partner Rory McDonald, who will get a rematch with Carlos Condit, and should he emerge victorious, the talk will once again be about a matchup between the two Canadians.
No, I'm not interested in fighting Rory. Rory's my friend, his training partner. I'm not interested in fighting Rory McDonald. And I have other plans for the future. And I'm not going to talk about it.